Last week was FA Cup fixtures, but now the Premier League is back, and seeing as it's the January transfer window, we'll be seeing some new faces. João Felix has joined Chelsea. Clearly he hasn't been looking at the league table as they're 10th. And although it's not official, former Burnley flop Wout Weghorst is set to join Man United. But I'm not here to talk to you about all the new January transfer rumours. I'm here to talk to you about match week 20 of the Premier League, and this is my predictions. If you do enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like. Let's try to get 15 likes on the video. Subscribe if you are new, I'd really appreciate it. And if you really want to support the channel, feel free to become a channel member. Aston Villa versus Leeds, and so far as Aston Villa manager Unai Emery's time has been relatively successful, bar a loss to Liverpool, who everyone's beaten this season. If I am an Aston Villa fan, I'm aiming for a top half finish. They're 3 points behind Chelsea, they're currently 11th, while Leeds are 14th, but they're 2 points off the relegation zone. The next 5 games are crucial for Aston Villa. If they can win a couple of the next 5 games, they can get themselves into the top half, while 5 losses could drag them into the relegation battle. But I don't think Aston Villa fans will have to worry for this game. I reckon they'll win this game 2-0 thanks to goals from Ollie Watkins and Leon Bailey. Man United versus Man City, the Manchester derby. Last time this fixture was played, Man City won 6-3 at the Etihad, with both Erling Haaland and Phil Foden scoring a hat-trick. But even in the space of 3 months, I think Man United have actually improved since then. They're in good form. Marcus Rashford has been brilliant in the last couple of weeks. Man United have definitely shown real improvement under Erik ten Hag. Since coming back from the World Cup, Manchester City haven't been their brilliant best, but they've been decent. Haaland's been scoring goals, but not to the same extent he was scoring goals before the World Cup. And if City really want to catch Arsenal, they're going to have to go up on the gear. Sadly, I think they're going to drop points in this game as well. I reckon it's going to be a 1-1 draw. Goals to come from Marcus Rashford and Erling Haaland. Wolves versus West Ham, and there were actual doubts if Nathan Collins was a flop, but in the last couple of weeks after the World Cup, he's been brilliant. A man of the match display versus Man United and Liverpool. He's definitely had a mistake now and there, and he didn't particularly start off great at Wolves, but he's now back to what we saw at Burnley and Ireland, and I do think he can go on to be one of the best centre-backs in the Premier League. And, well, I think he's going to keep a clean sheet in this game, mainly because he's a good centre-back, but also because, well, West Ham are terrible. I reckon Wolves are going to win this game 2-0 thanks to the goals from Podence and Guedes. Nottingham Forest versus Leicester. Nottingham Forest are finally getting into a bit of form. All their signings have now adapted. At the start of the season, the problem was they made too many signings. The problem with Leicester is they're making too little. I've criticised Brendan Rodgers a lot, but you have to look at it from the perspective that he's only made one signing in last summer, only because they sold Fofana, who he didn't intend on selling. So there was no actual additions to the Leicester squad. They sold the player, they replaced the player. So an aging Leicester squad that wasn't good enough last season gets another year under the belt and gets worse. What did they expect was going to happen? Leicester need to make 2 or 3 January signings, and we're a third of the way through the month, and at the time of recording, they've signed no one. It's going to be another loss for Leicester in this game. Nottingham Forest are going to win this game 1-0 thanks to a goal from Brennan Johnson. Brighton versus Liverpool. Liverpool played last Saturday under the lights at Anfield, their best possible team, not including injuries, versus Wolves' B team, and yet they drew, and really they should have lost because, well, VAR intervened and they made the wrong decision. To be honest with you, I've lost hope in this Liverpool team. They need signings to improve, and they're not making those signings, so I think they're going to lose. Brighton are an informed team, they're doing well. So if Brighton do win this game, they get themselves into a European place, overtaking Liverpool, and you know what, I reckon they will beat Liverpool 2-1 thanks to goals from World Cup winner Alexis McAllister and Pascal Gross. Everton versus Southampton, and what a signing Orsic is for Southampton. He's shown against Premier League teams in Europe that he can do. He scored a hat-trick versus Spurs a couple of years ago. He's obviously a very good player, and the current state Southampton are in, they need a hero, and so do Everton, to be fair. It's not looking good for Frank Lampard. Both teams are in the relegation zone, they're in dire need of some points, and the logical solution for this is to give both teams points. I reckon this game will be a 1-1 draw thanks to goals from Jay Adams and Alex Iwobi. Brentford versus Bournemouth, and Brentford are probably still on a high horse after beating Liverpool, and I will explain to you, it's not that impressive beating Liverpool this season. They practically gave out points for free. The goals Brentford scored were more poor defending than well-worked goals, but Brentford won't care. It's 3 points. They're going to take it and run. Brentford will pick up another win versus Bournemouth at home. I would expect them to win this game, so I reckon they'll win this game 3-1 thanks to 2 from Ivan Toney and 1 from Mbeumo. Chelsea versus Crystal Palace, and Chelsea are playing FIFA career mode every single day. I see them linked to a new player. They've already signed João Felix along with 3 or 4 other players. If you're a regular viewer of the channel, you will know I love João Felix. I think he's a fantastic player. I really do think he has a lot of potential, but I just don't think Chelsea is the right move. I understand it's a 6-month loan. He's not really going to care about Chelsea's long-term success, but he had Arsenal and Man United interested in him. He might have at least won a trophy. If he joined Man United or Arsenal, 2 teams that are doing well, it would reflect positively on him. It would look like he made an impact at the club, while if he joins Chelsea, I believe they'll continue to do poorly and it'll just reflect negatively on them. I'd like to reiterate, I do love João Felix, I just don't think it is the right move, but you know what, I reckon he will score in his Chelsea debut. Chelsea are going to draw this game 1-1, but João Felix will score. Newcastle versus Fulham. And Newcastle fans I know have really got me on the Newcastle hype train, and it's a good place to be because they are flying high. I'm convinced they're going to win the Carabao Cup. Southampton did beat Man City in the Carabao Cup, but you would still fancy Newcastle to beat them and at least get to Wembley, so I think there's a real good opportunity for Newcastle to win their first major trophy in decades. Newcastle might win the Carabao Cup, but I do think they will beat Fulham. Though they've been good this season at St James's Park, you would fancy Newcastle 99% of the time. Newcastle will win this game 3-1 thanks to Gustin Gamirez, Almiron and a Chris Wood penalty. Spurs versus Arsenal, the North London derby. If you haven't already noticed, you probably have. Spurs don't win many trophies. The first thing most people think in relation to Spurs is trophyless, unless you're Jack Wilshere, but he thinks, well, a word I can't say on YouTube anymore. If Spurs can beat Arsenal in this game, they probably consider it a trophy just to hinder their title hopes, but I do fancy Arsenal to win this game. I think Arsenal will win this game 2-0 thanks to goals from Saka and Martin Odegaard, and I also think Bentancur is going to get sent off. So that was my Game Week 20 Premier League predictions. Let me know what you thought of in the comments, and make sure to leave me your Game Week 20 Premier League predictions in the comments. If you did enjoy the video, make sure to leave a like and subscribe if you are new. If you want to support the channel, feel free to become a channel member. Thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.